this video. In this video, we are going to see one of the interesting concept called computation. So from the name, you can think about computation. What is computation? So computation is nothing but you're just calculating and assigning a value to a page item or to any value. So you just imagine a scenario. I'm just opening a page. In that page, I'm having a date picker. So by default I should get a current date, that is today date. By default it should be assigned. So that can be achieved using computation. So at the time of a page rendering, you can assign a default value to the page item, or you can calculate any value and you can assign to a page item. The same scenario on one more point of view I will say. So while you are saving a form, you are just submitting a value. At the time you need to calculate some of the fields and you need to save those calculated field value. For example, I'm just entering a data form, and on clicking on the submit, I should be updated by or updated date column. So at the time after submitting, I will be calculating what is the updated by value or updated date. Then I will just use those value and I will store in the database. So these two scenarios, like before page is rendering and after submitting, we can use this computation in the two modes. So let us begin how to make a computation concept. So let us see some demo. So in this page computation, I'm just creating a page item, and this page item could be date, and then the type I am selecting is a date picker, and I'm just saving it. I'm running this. So now I got a page item with the date picker. So now I'm just making this column span to some 4, and I'm running. So now the date picker has come to some particular width, and I'm just getting a dates. Here by default I should assign some value. Here you can see on clicking on this, by default I'm getting on the today date or some random date. You can see this is 1, today date is some 11, but by default I should get some value assigned. Here you can see it's an empty value. By default I should get some value that is picked from a calendar. For that you can create a computation. So how to create a computation? Just select the page item which you want to create a computation, right click on create computation. Under computation you scroll down. Here you can see different types of functionality, like static value. You can assign a value like odd coding. You can use any item reference, SQL query likewise. Now I am going to use the expression. Using the expression I am going to assign a today date, that is sys date. Using the sys date, my today date will be assigned to the page item, selected page item. So I am clicking the OK, clicking on the save, and I am running. Now you can see I got a today date is 11th August. So I am getting a today date by default. You can see by I am just refreshing the page, and the value is automatically assigned, that is default value is assigned to the page item. This is the computation usage. At the time of beginning you are just creating a computation, and this is running at that point. The same thing I need to do after the submitting. So at the time what you need to do the same thing, but instead of here under this computation, you can see under execution part, here is the execution point, at which point the current execution or a current computation should be executed or evaluated. So here you can see there are different options like before header, after header, before region, after region, like this. So these you need to select. Based on the selection, the current computation will be evaluated. Here I am just selecting after submit. So after submit, from the name you can get to know that this will be calculated after when you submit a page. Now I'm just clearing those values. So I'm just creating a process named clear session. This will clear the session item value. So now I'm getting a dummy empty field value. At the time of submit, my data will be calculated. So to check this, I'm going to create a button. This will submit. I'm just making it a submit, and this will be submitting that value. I'm just removing this process. So at the time of submit, my process will be executed. You can check it out. Here computation is created at the time of after submit and the page item. Now on clicking on that button, my date will be value will be assigned to the date picker. So now the date picker is empty. On clicking on the submit button, I am getting that date value. Here you can see. In the previous mode, we have just on refreshing the page, we just assigned a value. In the second mode, after submitting a page, we are just calculating and assigning a value. These are the two modes of computation available. Like before the page is rendered, you can assign a value to a page item, or otherwise after submitting, you can just calculate and assign a value. These two scenarios will be used. This is the first scenario will be used in this case. Like while opening a page, I should get a default date is picked up in the date picker. And the second scenario is like audit information, storing audit information, or you are calculating like derived columns. You're just making some derived columns based on the existing input value. You're just calculating some other columns, and then you are using those columns and inserting in the database. So in this scenario, you can use this computation. Computation is nothing but you're just assigning some value to the page item. So this is the computation. There are two types: before header or before entry, after submitting the page. Thank you.